Probably within the second week of school, I knew that I wanted to be an artist. And it wasn't an evolving decision. It wasn't like, but I wonder if I could pull it off. It was just, this is the only thing I want to do every day, all day. I couldn't get myself out of the studio. And the first thing that my father said was, well, you've always changed your mind a lot. So we'll be fine if you change your mind on this one too.
That is just scary.
That's his artwork. So cool. Yeah. What are you working on, bro? What are you working on, bro? What are you working on?
Oh yeah.
Boy. Oh. What are you working on?
My quartet of planets.
That's my professor.
And sometimes, Shannon started to do that before she was finished, just so that she had an idea. I would say about 4 years ago, I would have said I'm an artist and I teach college art. Now, I feel really strongly that I would say I'm an artist and a teacher. And both of those professions are really important to me. They feed each other. I had a really good childhood with lots of love and fun and lots of siblings and extended family. You know, I remember how perfectionist I was as a young student, and my nose, having a nosebleed, the only one in my entire life, when I was learning how to write. And so it went onto the paper. That's the kind of thing that I would remember more than some fabulous trip that we took or whatever, even though they're in my memory as well. Usually, when I have a subject matter, it gets done in a lot of media. Like when I was doing beavers, there were small ink drawings. There were huge, 6-7 foot drawings. There were several sculptures. So it's more about exploring the subject matter in different materials, and the materials also bring a lot of their own voice. Then I start to respond to that voice. Also scale, that's a big thing. Once in a while I want to do something really huge, but it needs to fit out the door. I need to be able to transport it. So it turns into something modular that becomes a part of the concept and the idea and the visual. But the reason for it was really just, how can I do this in my little studio? I am really interested in finding beauty in the unbeautiful. So think of someone like Grunewald. Every human being that's depicted has knobby knuckles and all of the pores show in the skin. I'm not sure why I find that so compelling, but it is really a lot more compelling to me than a Whistler painting, who's a painter that I really love. They're beautiful portraits, but I just don't find anything in there to grab me and keep me there. So when I started out, I didn't know that any of my birds were going to be hybrid. I was really just doing my research, doing my due diligence, trying to discover why I thought they were cool or beautiful or what I meant to do with it. The visual parts that I was really attracted to, for the big birds like cranes, it looks like their knee is bending backwards. I really love that. I always look at that. But being human and not a bird myself, I kind of glam on to those human moments or my own kind of human feelings about what they're doing. Then I project the psychology onto it. And I'm just using the animals to a certain extent as the actors in a play. So eventually they became hybrids. They didn't start out that way, but they became hybrids. I'm more interested in the detail than in the whole. A lot of the history of that is found in the grotesque. So that's one of the things that connects me to the grotesque. The Northern European early Renaissance painters were like hyper realists and super detailed. You know, every jewel in the crown had its own reflections on it. I can geek out on that when I go to a museum for a long time. And so that's something that I want to achieve in my work. When I first discovered that, it was when I was doing portraiture, that I would hours spent looking at the same person and in order to get it right, looking at every little fold in their skin, made me love them. You know, even if I didn't know that person that well, by the time I was done, I really felt like I loved that person. That might be what gives my work that tactile quality, because that's what I get excited about. You know, I'll put the face there, but what I can't wait to do are the freckles because I've seen something interesting in those spots. Teaching came late to me, and I did not think I wanted to be a teacher. I was young, I wanted to be an artist, and I was satisfied with doing that. Just having a professional life, making art, showing art, selling art. Teaching is a full-blown career, like art is a full-blown career. And I just didn't, what would that mean? It would mean going back to grad school. I had a child I was raising as a single mother, and what were the chances that I would get a good teaching job? And then it was a love that, you know, it's one of those things where you learn to love someone. Like, I did it because I've always needed to do some kind of money-making career, but it was a very good match that took me a long time to discover. And once I did, you know, I went back to grad school, and I knew even when I was there that I wanted to teach because I loved academia. I loved the process of always learning, always researching. And yeah, being an artist is not something that everybody understands. So the tribe of it, it doesn't mean that I have to be with visual artists. It's when I'm with creators that feel an equal connection to that constant growth of that field. It is just, I feel like I'm with my brethren, like I'm with my people. And I want my students to have that, because school it's either 2 years or 4 years. And when you leave, it's either over and you remember the stuff that you learned, or you have this great community to continue. And, you know, how often do I see these people? Maybe not often. Maybe we'll Zoom once a month or something, but it still means everything to me. And I do think that that's where the most connection and artistic growth happens.